Good evening, everyone. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. All right. Hello, everyone. I've changed the title of, changed the format on my title there. So, War Against COVID-19 Los Angeles, April 22, 2020 at 6:43 in the evening here in Los Angeles. Let me go take my glasses off because they're causing a glare. So is this one here. I thought I was going to have all these videos in the back when I have an update, but I guess that's not going to work because there's too much glare. I'm actually using a camera, the webcam from, it's the webcam on this MacBook Pro. So let's get to it. So, and I'll tell you about the running out of soy sauce. So, so like I said, so it's about so we're now close to 2.6 million affected, and about 170,000 have perished worldwide. May they rest in peace. We're over 800 diagnosed in the United States. That's the whole United States. And there have been over 46,000 deaths. So we're almost near the halfway point of what they were predicting were going to perish with it. So they predicted about 100 to 200,000, which is pretty scary. So in the world news, pretty much looks like hydrochloroquine or chloroquine may not have promised. There was actually a study done at the VA. It looks like 28% perished from hydrochloroquine treatment, whereas those who were not treated with hydrochloroquine, only 11% perished. So still, there weren't a lot of patients, and it's still I think they need more they need more subjects, which no, that was misstated. So there just weren't any there just were not many in the study. So it's kind of hard to infer, but but it doesn't look really promising as it sounded initially. um Kim Jong Un leader, there are rumors that he is very sick or maybe even dead, but really not a lot of intel, I guess, coming out of North Korea. I guess if he dies, then there will be a huge vacuum, and there's going to be problems with refugees, etc., etc. So, and there's going to be a power grab. So let's see. There was a Filipino nurse who died alone in England. May he rest in peace. I think he was only 37. Uh, yeah, I think he went home sick after having taken care of patients, and he was put on isolation. And I guess he passed after like 7 days or something, 7 or 11 days, something like that. So there's another one, and there was an article that there are a lot of Filipino healthcare workers that are actually dying, that probably more than any other group. So not much else with that. So I'm not hearing much about Italy lately. Japan was late in their lockdown. I think this is like news from a couple of days ago. Sweden, the government has been for 1,000 deaths now, and I think they're becoming a little more strict. So South Korea, there are, I think I might have mentioned it, that there are reactivation of COVID infections in their population. Uh, yep. So sorry about that. I had to So nationwide, not much from New York. They're still having their fair share of positive tests. I think a lot of food processors is they're looking into that because there are a lot of workers who are infected. In the state of California, the governor wanted to do. Um, uh, I might mention it tomorrow. So uh, in Los Angeles, it looks like there's 66 additional deaths and 1,318 new cases. So it looks like we're still on that up curve. But I had a email from the big boss where I work, and he showed 4 graphs. They were from the 1918 pandemic. They were the incidents of the Spanish flu in St. Louis, um, Denver, New York, and Philadelphia. So the East Coast, which is New York and Philadelphia, they pretty much had one curve. It shot up, way up, and then it went down. So that was what's to be expected. So they stuck to their strict self self isolation and quarantine. Whereas in St. Louis and Denver, they had 2 peaks. So it went up, and then they actually didn't lock down. They let off on the lockdown early, and so they had another sort of like a bimodal curve, I guess. So they had 2 peaks. So that's the thing that's being feared right now is that although it looks like we peaked and it's going down, that if we start letting people go out and not follow these restrictions, that we may have a second surge, and that may be a bigger problem. So that's kind of the thing that my the big boss kind of mentioned. So as far as the where I work, I'll be doing screen. I actually plotted. So we have a spreadsheet of who actually came in since March 3rd, and it was crazy. We had a very high. I think we had 17 who actually came into the clinic, and then it went down, and then it went up, and then it's going down. I don't really have the latest, the last week or two, because the providers were filling it out. So, but I think we'll have an updated version of that, and I think it actually resembles LA, where there was a peak, and then it went down, and then there's a peak, went down, and then it's another valley, then it went up again, and then so it's basically sort of like a bell-shaped curve with a lot of jagged edges. So that's kind of what's going on in LA. Locally, people are there are more people on the highways. Traffic's a little worse, but it's still not as crazy as it is when it is normally. The weather is still kind of cold and windy outside. It feels like more like fall. And the trees, what's crazy is that there are certain trees, and my front yard is littered with fallen leaves, and they're green. They're not brown, and it looks like somebody actually sprayed 3/4, 2/3 of the tree from from the bottom, 2/3 up, and then the 1/3 you have fresh, mature, or you have green leaves, and then on the bottom you have these branches that are almost like stripped of all the leaves. You have very few leaves. Crazy phenomenon. I haven't really seen this before, and it's a particular tree, and it's what's lined down the street and a lot of Santa Clarita actually. So it's just weird. You see green leaves on top, and then 2/3 are a lot of branches that don't have as many leaves. And yeah, I thought somebody was being an asshole and just spread leaves all over my car in my front yard, but it turns out it's the wind and the weather that's kind of doing that. So that's pretty much the update today. And then the soy sauce. So bought some meat and vegetables, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna make adobo." So I was telling myself, I said, "Oh, I better go get some soy sauce just in case I don't have any more." So I go there right before I forget. I forget to buy the soy sauce. So I go home. I look in my pantry. I cook my adobo, and I only had this much of soy sauce left. So I'm making adobo with less than what I was supposed to put in there because I ran out of soy sauce. So there you go. So that's the update for tonight. But as you can see, there's just too much gear. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. So, and it looks like my internet is getting choppy. So I'm gonna end it here. Good night. Be careful and have a good one. And we'll talk to you later.